Alright, welcome everyone. So I'm just here, on a weekend night, and I just wanted to sort of give an overall overview of the project that I've been tackling the past few months, which is a 3D printer. I decided to build a 3D printer from scratch, and I looked through many designs. I decided upon making something similar to the Repstrap Wilson. So this is a Wilson-inspired design with a few modifications of my own. So to start, I have a Y carriage that runs on 2 linear bearings. These bearings are mounted into 2 pillow blocks, which I printed. I also printed a bed, pretty much, a bed mount that attaches to 4 pieces of aluminum which extend out to the heat bed. And I put all of this on an extruded aluminum frame. So the motor is actually at the back there, right there in the back. And basically I adjust the tension by opening these angle mounts and pulling it such that the belt is taut. In terms of the x-axis, it's a pretty standard design. You'll notice that the Prusa and the Wilson have the Z bearing embedded into this one piece that normally moves up and down. I've separated the two because I couldn't build anything that complicated just with hand tools and a jigsaw. So what I did at first was I didn't even have Z rods. I actually built these bearings after I built the x-axis. So this is really more of a fine-tuned project after the fact that I built upon itself. So the X carriage it's pretty standard. I'm using an E3D V5 Hotend mounted in there. I have 2 radial blower fans that are blowing towards the nozzle. I have an inductive sensor that I've used for auto bed leveling. And because I don't have an aluminum heat bed, I just took 4 pieces of copper tape along with some Captain tape on top to use for the auto bed leveling sequence for the 2x2 matrix. To adjust the tension on the X, I have an M3 bolt that's attached to a plate. These 2 are slotted, so as I turn the bolt further inwards, it'll pull the entire assembly this way. So on top, I have the Z-axis. Here I have some gravity rollers attached to an Acme lead screw. There's 1 nut there, 1 nut there. And though both of these are clamped and they both tighten onto a pulley. That pulley is replicated, the whole assembly is replicated onto the other side. And there's 1 pulley that's being driven by a stepper motor, such that both of these are driven at the same time as I turn that. I've also designed my own extruder drive assembly. Just based off of what I've seen and what I've tried to print off of Thingiverse, I decided it was much easier to just build my own. Essentially all I have is a 608 bearing that is attached on the arm of some acrylic that I formed, and that's just spring loaded. I have 2 holes here that support the spring on 2 pieces of aluminum. It's kind of janky, but it gets the job done. And I found that this works very well. And I've also mounted all of that just on some quarter 20 bolts and some threaded rod, which I will have to fix later, but basically I just need another rod to help support that. Let's see if I can tighten this. If not, I'll have to play with it later. Back here I just have a spool assembly, so just a seat for a spool, again using 2 sets of rollers such that it can just continue to roll. A lot of people say that it's better to have sort of some friction to prevent that from unspooling wildly, because you will start to get filament jams if filament is catching on itself, so to speak. So that's something that I'll be working on later on. But for the most part, with this printer, I'm able to print, you know, small parts like this. Just to give you an idea, those are 1/16 holes. A little bit of stringing because I haven't mastered the art of proper cooling yet. I've also built some hubs here. These are wheel hubs. And both of these mount together to create something like this. I'm trying to build some macadam wheels. Overall, it's been pretty good. Prints need very little rework after the fact. A little bit of stringing here and there. But I tend to print with a temperature of 210 degrees to 215 degrees. I work with PLA primarily. The heat bed, I print at a temperature of 50 degrees, first layer 60 degrees. And I control all of that using my LCD interface that I also built myself. A little bit of wiring and an SD card module. So overall, it's been a very fun project, and in some subsequent videos, what I'll be doing is I'll be sharing some of the tips that I found to be very helpful, and I'll amalgamate them into one place so that anyone who is wanting to build their own 3D printer will have, hopefully, a much easier time than I did. Alright, well, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And this is Stark007. Peace and out.